I'm Liz Robertson, and in 2011 I was diagnosed with PPF. It is still, even 10 years later, it is still a slow, difficult process. You have a cough, well, you've had an x-ray, there isn't anything on there. Maybe you've got a bit of asthma, let's try that. No, that doesn't work. I found it very, very frustrating that I couldn't find out enough information. And then I began to realize actually there wasn't that much known. It was still very much in its developmental stages of diagnosis and prognosis and so on. But now I think it should be a much clearer pathway, and could be. Your appointment with the consultant is so major in your life, and you want to ask all these things, but you can't ask them about the tiny little things. And it's that you need your specialist ILD nurse to say, yep, that's fine, that's normal. Or, well, have you tried this for the cough? Have you tried that for the cough? How are your breathing exercises going? Are you doing your pulmonary rehab? All of these things can come with your specialist nurse. Oxygen is one of the things that we all struggle with, because when you get to the stage of it being beneficial, you're not always prescribed it. And that's another thing that would be really good to get sorted out. It's a scary, horrible disease, because you also know that the end is going to be really unpleasant. You don't necessarily understand that at the beginning, which is probably good. But once you start getting to worse stage, and when you talk to friends in the pulmonary fibrosis group, you realise that, yeah, it's not nice. It is a frightening, lonely place to be sometimes. It is something that needs to be supported and helped. And I don't think it always is, because people don't have time in the appointments that you're going to. The focus is on the medical side of it and what is happening. And if they kindly ask you, how do you feel? It's actually really difficult at that point, sitting in front of your consultant, to say, oh, well, actually, I feel absolutely miserable. And of course, their palliative care can come into play. And I think it would be much better if people were given access to palliative care much earlier in the UK, because that's where you can get a lot of support for that sort of thing from a local hospice or palliative care team. But it seems to get left a bit until much closer to end of life, and it can work really positively earlier in the process. I would like a care pathway that was swift in actually going through the diagnosis process, and then a lot more support, not on day one of your diagnosis, because you can't take it in, and just going home with a few leaflets, it really doesn't help. You need an appointment with somebody like your specialist nurse in maybe a week or a fortnight after that, to start actually understanding what on earth you've got and how to talk to your family. What on earth are you supposed to say to them? And then regular contact, and not cancelled appointments because you're desperate for that appointment. It's a very personal journey that you're going through, and it could be better. It could be better. As I say, I'm very fortunate in where I am and the teams that I have. But I know from other people's experiences, it's not always like that. And it would be great if we could just make it that little bit better for the patients and their carers.